Hello everyone. Today we're going to discuss the area of triangles, rectangles, and trapezoids in this flipped lesson. So for today, the agenda is we're going to use our guided notes to follow along, which you should have. They were provided in class, and if for some reason you didn't get those notes, you can download them in Google Classroom and access them there. We're going to go over the area of triangles, rectangles, and trapezoids, and it's very similar to what we discussed earlier about the area of circles. Now your guided notes are going to look like this. So you're going to need these today with you as we're going over each of these, because there are several formulas that you'll need to know as we go through this. So area, we talked briefly about this already, but what is area? So it's the amount of surface a figure covers. If you imagine how much paint it would take to cover an area of a shape, that is what area is. So we're going to talk about triangles first. So what are triangles? In geometry, a triangle is a closed two-dimensional shape with three straight sides, and it's a polygon. So we talked about triangles a little bit when we talked about polygons before. So the area of triangles. The area is half of the base times height. B is the distance along the base, here, and H is height, measured at the right angles to the base. So the formula for that is area equals half times base times height, and it works for all the triangles. So what is the area of this triangle? So note 12 is the height, not the length of the left-hand side. Okay, so this is not the length from here to here. This is actually the height distance, which is different. So the height is 12. Now, another thing I want you to notice here, they do not give us units, which they should in this example. But the height is 12 and the base is 20. So when you plug that into the formula, you get 120. We don't know what the units are, but if we did have units here, it would say units squared, because it's a square area, okay? So here's an example of why areas of triangles are half of the base times the height. So it says if you double the triangle and flipped it, it would make a parallelogram, which can be changed to a simple rectangle. So that the area of a parallelogram is base times height, which is on your worksheet. But I also want you to email me to show me that you're watching this video. What is the area of a parallelogram? Okay, so our area of a triangle is half base times height, but what is our area of a parallelogram? So here's some examples. They give us this triangle here, and they want to know what is the area. So area equals 1/2 base times height. So we put our base as 4, our height is 10, and it's 20 units squared. They're always going to be squared units. Here's another example. Our base is 3, our height is 6 here. So we put this into our area formula, and we get 9 squared units. Okay, so this is some additional practice. So if we have 1/2, our base is 18 and our height is 15. So if we plug those into our formula, we get 135 square units. Here's another example. Notice in this example, I'm not using 7. Even though it's here, this is not a number that I'm using because it is not the height. The height is 5, not 7. So 4, the base, times the height, times our 1/2, we get 10 units squared. Area of rectangles. So I'm going to move into the rectangles portion. So what's a rectangle? A rectangle is a 4-sided flat shape where every angle is a right angle. So in this example, I said before that these hash marks mean that they're equal. So these two sides are equal, these two sides are equal. Here is our right angle symbol. So each internal angle is 90 degrees. Opposite sides are parallel and of equal length. So it's also a parallelogram. What is the area of this rectangle? So area equals length times width. So we can think of it in that term. Length and width. So 5 times 3 equals 15 meters squared. Always squared when we're talking about area. So counting by squares, you can also put the shape on a grid and count the number of squares that it takes up. So the rectangle has an area of 15. When each square is 1 meter on a side, then the area is 15 meters squared, or square meters. So a square is a flat shape with 4 equal sides, and every angle is a right angle. So they're all sides are equal in length. Notice just one hash mark here. And opposite sides are parallel, so it's also a parallelogram. So area equals the side length squared is all it is. So how is the area of a rectangle similar to that of a square? So that's your second question in the email. How is the area of a rectangle similar to that of a square? So that's what you're going to email me as question number 2 to prove that you're watching this video. So this is just an example. A square has a side length of 6 meters. What is its area? So we got to know what the formula is. We plug in our 6 and we square it, and it's 36 meters squared, or square meters. Here's another rectangle example. Area equals length times width. So area equals 6 times 5, or 30 centimeters squared, or squared centimeters. Here's one of a square. So when we plug in our 6, just like we did with the other example, we get 36 meters squared, or squared meters. Here's another one. So our length is 7 centimeters, our width is 5, and we get 35 centimeters squared. Area equals length times width. So our length in this instance should be 6. Our width should be 6. Our length should be 9. Or 54 squared units, because they say units here. Okay. So area of trapezoids. So trapezoid is a 4-sided flat shape with straight sides that has a pair of opposite sides, or they're parallel. An isosceles trapezoid is when it has equal angles that form from a parallel side. Okay, that would be this one here. This one's definitely not. So the area formula for trapezoids is half the height times base 1 plus base 2. So for this example, we have half of a height of 6 centimeters times 4 plus 6, the two bases. And when we plug those numbers into our formula, we get 30 centimeters squared, or squared centimeters. Here's another example. we plug these numbers in, our height is 6, our base 1 is 2, base 2 is 4. We get 18 centimeters squared. Area of trapezoids, some more practice. So now, where would each of these go? So 1/2, our height is 3, base 1 is 5, base 2 is 7. And we get 18 squared units, or units squared. Here's another one. 5 is our height, 2 is our base 1, 6 is our base 2 times 1/2. Once we plug those numbers in, we get 20 centimeters squared. So find the area of multiple shapes. So now that we have that knowledge about those basic shapes, if you have an object that is multiple shapes, like maybe this house, for example, how would you find the area of it? Well, you would need to find the area of the rectangle and the area of the triangle on top. So if you find the area of the triangle, half the base times the height. So half, 20 is going to be our base, even though it's not labeled right there. And 8 is our height. When we put that in, it's 80 feet, square feet, feet squared. Find the area of the rectangle. So here is our rectangle here. So 20 times 15, the area is 300 square feet, or feet squared. And then you're going to add both together. And when you add both together, you get the total area of the shaded region is 380 square feet. So this is a little project that you're going to be doing in class after we do some practice on this. This is worth 10 in class points. So you're going to create, it doesn't have to be a house, it can be any object that you want, as long as you have to have 3 different shapes in it. Shapes can be repeated. You can identify the shape, you have to measure the shape, write the area formula of the shapes, find the area of that specific shape, find the total area of the shapes, and then decorate your object. So that is what we're going to be working on in class tomorrow. I just want to give you kind of a preview of what it looks like. You can also do circles in here, because we did talk about circles, even though this lesson does not include circles. And for your final question, I want you to send me one thing you learned, one thing you still have a question on, and one thing you want to know more about in an email to me. So you have 3 total questions. That's your last question to answer. And that is the end of this video. Have a great day. Bye.